Hey, happy Friday, everyone. As former superstar Paige would say,
We're back.
we're back. Wonderful to see everyone here tonight for On the Ring Apron. I'm Steve.
And I'm Kia.
And the reason we say that is because it's been 2 weeks since we've joined you on this particular show.
2 weeks.
Are we trying to get monster truck rallies set up on commercials now?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure.
Sunday. Although we'll do that in a little bit because Sunday is a big day coming up. So we're going to be discussing plenty of that, of what's coming up this Sunday. And that, of course, is WWE Payback. Of course, for those of you wondering why we didn't have it on the Ring Apron last week, it's because we had a double pay-per-view weekend. There's only a handful of them throughout the year, so we don't do on the Ring Apron during those particular weeks. But giving everyone an opportunity to be able to get themselves caught up. Hopefully everyone's, nice, refreshed after the great weekend we had with TakeOver 30,
Yep.
as well as Summerslam. A lot of great matches, a couple of title changes. I'm looking forward to that part. But with our third pay-per-view in 8 days coming up, we're not ready for the fun to end quite yet as we've got Payback coming up this Sunday. So, as you know, On the Ring Apron is our standard run-through show where we typically talk about what's happened during the week. And basically this week was a lot of aftermath of the pay-per-views that we saw.
Yep.
You look at Monday Night Raw where you opened with the returning and still champion Drew McIntyre successfully retaining the WWE Championship over Randy Orton. Unfortunately, it came with a price.
There was a lot of, you could see there was a lot of rage and anger with Mr. Orton. 3 punts in one night to one person.
And the reality is, the idea is that one is supposed to be enough to take out any person, but the fact is Drew took 3 in one night.
That's because he kept getting up.
Well, it is what it is, but, as the Scottish and, of course, fighting champion, he's going to likely, still show up. But unfortunately, it won't be Drew that's going to be showing up at Payback. It's actually going to be a very much a surprise as who's going to face Randy Orton. It actually ends up being the newest member of Monday Night Raw, and that is coming up from NXT, former champion Keith Lee.
Keith Lee!
Who has a theme change that people aren't happy about, and I'm sure not.
I love it.
You like his new theme?
I do. I'm the oddball out. I don't follow everybody else. I'm on my own. I lead that pack. Sheep.
If Bailey walked in here, I need to find out where she is. But either way, so we're going to end up with Keith Lee getting his first major match against Randy Orton. The match actually did happen on Monday Night Raw, but it was interrupted by Retribution. So it ends up leading to, a whole bunch of mess and everything else.
They've just been one big handful after the other, finding their way to the different arenas. We thought, we'd left them behind, but obviously they found their way to Amway Center, and it's just a big old mess.
Even the Thunderdome couldn't keep them out.
No.
Maybe they're coming in through the screens.
We don't know.
Speaking of Thunderdome, by the way, who's enjoying this so far? We've had an opportunity to get in a couple of times. We had an opportunity to get on Smackdown last week. We were in again tonight. We had a seat at SummerSlam. Excuse me. I'm trying to spit out the pay-per-view here. Ended up only being in there about 15 minutes because we honestly just wanted to watch the pay-per-view. But, how have you guys been enjoying that Thunderdome experience? If you haven't had a chance to do it, try to get on the site. It's just WWEThunderdome.com. I've learned it's usually around noon, 2 days before the event is usually when they start allowing people to jump in. We're set to be in the Thunderdome for Payback this upcoming Sunday. Actually getting to be in before even the pre-show starts. So, I don't know why they need folks in that early, but, I'm not going to complain.
Why do we question it?
Continuing on with Monday Night Raw, of course, one of the title changes that did happen at SummerSlam was Asuka successfully regaining her Raw Women's Championship, defeating Sasha Banks. We're sporting the gear this evening.
Bam!
But the Boss getting her rematch in a lumberjill, whatever you want to call it, match.
For the guys, it's lumberjack. For me, and the women, it's lumberjills.
Just like Iron Woman when they when she fought Bayley.
Exactly.
So they need to get that corrected. But unfortunately, the same result ends up happening. Asuka gets Sasha to tap out, so Sasha unable to regain the Raw Women's Championship on Raw. So it looks like that storyline is run its course at this point because, of course, with that, Sasha now would need to return back to SmackDown, although with the virtues of still holding the tag team championships, they still can come to Raw. Of course, they have to survive this weekend as they will face a formidable challenge defending the women's tag titles against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, two women who don't like each other, but hate them even more.
So that might be the reason they they work extra hard to get those titles. So
right. Well, Shayna also has been very upfront in saying to whoever won the Raw Tag Team title, I got next.
Mm-hmm.
So she, Asuka at this point has held up her end of the bargain. So now Shayna, is determined to get to hold up hers, and possibly being able to take a couple of titles along the way if they can get it done this weekend. And of course, a loss would send Sasha and Bayley back to SmackDown for good. Which would be unfortunate for the rest of the brand, but it is what it is.
Hey, I mean, if you can't hold on to the titles, then what's the point of having the titles, right?
Another segment that happened on Raw this week that kind of, I don't know, my personal opinion, I thought was a bit of a waste of time, was an arm wrestling match between Bobby Lashley and Apollo Crews, with Mark Henry being the, the referee of the match. Ultimately, Crews ends up stepping on Lashley's foot to get an easy win, but then, of course, there's an attack afterwards. It's exactly what you expected. It's leading up to the match that I thought would happen at SummerSlam, but it's now going to happen at Payback, and that is Crews defending the United States Championship against Bobby Lashley.
Which I feel like you said, it should have happened already, but it hasn't. But I'm glad to see that it's going to take place like that. So.
Well, I really am concerned because Crews has had a great run as U.S. champion.
Yes, but he's also been deserving of it too.
Well, no one's questioning that, but you also look at a person like Bobby Lashley. They've been clamoring all this time about how he's a man who needs to win gold, and ever since he joined with MVP, all the conversations: you're a man that needs gold, you're a man that needs championships, and yet it seems like he comes out, he gets embarrassed, he sulks, and then he goes to Underground for, to beat up people for the rest of the night.
Yeah, for the rest of the night.
Which he's doing very successfully, but at the same time, I think he needs that championship run in order to be able to make his, this whole thing with MVP relevant. So we'll see if Sunday's the night that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Continuing the storyline between Andrade, Angel Garza, eventually working their way back to the Street Profits again, but in a weird twist this week, as it ends up being Zelina Vega who makes a rare appearance in the ring this week, teaming up with the Iconics against, the reformed Riot Squad. Two-thirds of it, the two-thirds that can be here, as well as Bianca Belair. Zelina, stylish and looking wonderful as always.
Definitely.
I called 5 minutes.
Yeah, you did.
But ultimately, it's the KOD from Bianca, the EST, picking up the win. So it's exactly what you expect. That storyline hopefully kind of reaching its end, so we can actually be able to push either one of these teams towards the tag team titles, or potentially start setting up Asuka's next challenger.
I'd like to see the Riot Squad with the women's tag team titles, honestly. I think that'd be great.
I think that's a popular opinion as well, as the the now reformed team. You have to wonder, they're working together for now. Are they going to be able to continue to mesh, as they continue to go forward? So we'll see if their friendship can be rebuilt, or is it right now just being set up because of the fact that they both just hate the Iconics?
We've already, and like you stated with the Iconics, we've seen the titles on them already, so I really don't want to go back to that storyline. I would like to see other women hold those titles, and so for two-thirds of the Riot Squad to try to be working together and to make it work, I want to see them with it.
Exactly. So, a lot of fun matches coming up, as Raw announcing a number of matches. Now, what's the truly interesting part about this particular week coming up is that for the first time you're getting only 1 week to go from one pay-per-view to the next one.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how WWE is being able to try to manage getting people emotionally involved in matches that you only get 1 week, one show to set up. But on the flip side of things, and I'm curious to see what our audience thinks as well, one of the most irritating things I hate, especially when there are a number of title changes at a pay-per-view, is the 6 weeks of storyline that eventually just leads to the entire next pay-per-view just being all rematches against the previous champion. In 95% of circumstances, the current champion always retains, so the previous champion never wins it back, so you're basically wasting 6 weeks of storyline plus a pay-per-view. With Payback being only with 1 week to prepare, you get these rematches out of the way. You get these storylines finished up by giving them, the previous champions, potentially their rematches, as well as setting up a chance to finalize some story. So I could see this going both ways. We'll see if only having 1 week of emotional involvement will play a role in this or not.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
So, we said Raw did its part, granted, having to kind of be the one to set the tone. We moved to NXT. And NXT started off with exactly what I believe everyone could not have believed in their wildest dreams. Of course, at TakeOver 30, we crowned a new NXT champion. Karrion Kross successfully defeating Keith Lee, who is now on Monday Night Raw, to win the NXT championship, but it came at a price.
He broke his,
separated
his shoulder. And so,
ironically, the same injury Finn Balor took when he won the Universal Championship, and unfortunately the result is going to be exactly the same, a surgery and looking at about somewhere between 8 to 12 months of rehab, so we may not be seeing Karrion for a while. And it's too bad because he was getting such a fantastic push.
Not just that, he was getting pushed, and his promos were good, and his backstage segments were good, and everything he did in the ring was good, even though he didn't have to do that much talking because he had his beautiful valet with him, his wife or fiance.
And that's going to be really the question is going to be, not just what are they going to do in place with Karrion, and more on that in a second, but then you've also got Scarlett, who's kind of sitting in limbo right now because I don't necessarily think you can just write her off for a year.
Well,
that's too good of a talent and too good of a mouthpiece for you to not use.
From what I've heard and I've been reading, with other promotions that she has worked at, she's done very good. So I'd like to see her wrestle. I'd like to see her get it in there and mix it up with the different women that's on the NXT
She's won multiple championships across several different other promotions. So it's certainly something that she can do. But Karrion Kross, as the result of that injury, having to surrender the NXT Championship before he could even begin. We have gotten privy of being able to get our hands on the Karrion Kross plates before he headed out. So there will be a future plate exchange in which we will sport those off to just show you what was going to potentially become. But it does lead to an extremely fun NXT next week. Of course, we've got to crown a new champion. First of all, for those of you who aren't aware, NXT next week is going to be on Tuesday, not on Wednesday. So a little bit of a different...
Tuesday.
Monster trucks, we got to go deeper. Tuesday.
I'm a woman. I cannot get any deeper than this.
I don't want you any deeper than that.
Okay, so anyhow, it's gonna be on Tuesday, and it's gonna be for what? This first match is gonna be
it's gonna end up being first of all, the entire match is a fatal 4-way between all former NXT champions. You're going to have Johnny Gargano, you're going to have Tommaso Ciampa, Adam Cole, and the Prince, Finn Balor. All former NXT champions, all one-time champions. So we're going to have potentially someone, whoever wins will become only the third person to win the title more than once, following Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe, who both won it twice.
So let me ask you a question. With that match happening first on NXT for that hour, who are you picking?
Well, I haven't even stated the stipulation yet.
Okay, well, what's the stipulation?
The reason why we keep mentioning an hour is because it was announced that not only will this be a fatal 4-way match, which of course means no disqualifications, no countouts, but it also is going to be a 60-minute Ironman match, which means most pinfalls or submissions over the course of that hour wins the championship. Because of the fact that we don't have another on the ring apron, we do have to make a prediction here. I was thinking we might put it on Top Rope Spoilers for later this weekend, but let's just go ahead and make a pick. Gracious. I'm going to go with Cole, honestly.
Really?
I think that, they're trying to establish something different with the Undisputed Era right now. So I could potentially see them, the other 3 members potentially getting their own story, as it looks like they may be making a run towards, another tag team title run, or maybe getting into the North American title picture. But Cole has proven that he can be able to do it on his own. He wrestled a great match against McAfee. I think a little bit surprised that how good McAfee was. I was very impressed with his performance. I hope we can see him again. But honestly, I think that Cole has proven that even by himself, he has the charisma and also the standing with the fans to be able to hold up the company. Maybe not the most popular choice of the options, but I think you could safely put it on Cole and know it's in good hands.
I feel like for me, my pick would be the Prince, obviously, because I feel like he came back to NXT because he said you literally see everything. You can see the faults, you can see the ups, you can see the downs, you can see the cracks, and the lights are on the brightest where people are literally watching you. So if you make a mistake, it's for everybody to see, unlike, they could cover it up and they could edit it on like Raw, Smackdown. So that's my pick per se.
Exactly. So that's something to look forward to, is one of the 2 hours of the NXT next week is going to be just this one singular match. But there are some other storylines that kind of built themselves. We have a new North American champion in the form of Damian Priest, who decided to go celebrate in the hot tub with some ladies as well as Triple H.
Coming in the background,
but it's very clear that he's already got some challengers, and it looks like his first one could be a returning superstar to NXT in the form of Austin Theory.
Ugh, I don't even like him. I don't even know why he came back. It's no mystery.
Well, you look at Austin Theory, and it's no mystery for those who have been watching on social media. He's run into a little bit of legal trouble. Very similar to stuff that's happened with Velveteen Dream as of late. Obviously, they would not have returned him to TV if they didn't feel that there was nothing there pressing, or I don't know if they're sweeping stuff. Hey, that's none of our business. We're not lawyers. We're not going to press into that. The fact is, he's on TV. You've got people like him. You've got Bronson Reed, who is potentially eyeballing the title. You've got a number of others, who could potentially run for it. I mean, essentially, you've got your 4 main contenders, but then basically the rest of the men's roster is open and available. And we also, of course, have new NXT Tag Team Champions crowned this week. It's hard to believe that Breezango, and more importantly, just Fandango himself, who has been contracted with WWE for 13 years, 2007 when he originally signed his very first developmental contract.
Oh my goodness.
He wins a championship for the first time in his career, tag teaming with Tyler Breeze as they take out Imperium to win the NXT Tag Team Championships.
I'm for one, outside of Haley, I'm very excited. That was my pick going into TakeOver, that they would win, and they did exactly what I thought they were going to do. All that being pushed down, knocked around, and everything else, they literally got tired of just being ragdolls, so they finally fought back and they got what they deserved.
Well, we've really been seeing both since the beginning of their WWE days. We saw Fandango's original debut, which was at WrestleMania.
That was like the best night ever, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember we started the Fandango chant at Raw the next night. That was a ruckus crowd. If you get a chance, go on YouTube, look up the crowd from the WrestleMania right after 29 and just listen to the crowd reaction. I've never been in an arena louder than that. And most of it was Fandango chants. It was insane.
And then we took it back to the hotel, to the
and people in the hotel, 3 a.m. are still da 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 da. But we got a chance to see his original match, and we also saw Tyler Breeze's main event debut at a TakeOver, going back a number of years ago. So we had a chance to see both of, honestly, their biggest matches of their careers live. So to finally see them being trusted to get some gold on them is a very healthy thing, and I love it. I know the crowd's very thrilled about it. Definitely deserving. They've been 2 guys that honestly have been kind of pushed to the back of the line, very similar to what they've done with, say, an Apollo Crews, where they basically just sat in the back for a long time. They've waited it out. They bided their time. They waited their turn, and now it's finally here, and I hope they get a good run.
I mean, the way I look at it, they did everything they were supposed to as far as every type of storyline that you could hand them. No question.
Fashion Police.
Oh my God, that was my favorite segment. There was nothing they could not do. So for them to get this opportunity to be trusted with the gold, I'm, for one, very happy for them. Congratulations, guys.
Absolutely. And then, of course, the Women's Championship still in line as well, as Io Shirai successfully retaining over Dakota Kai and now trying to line up her next challenger. It looked like originally it was going to potentially be Rhea Ripley, but Ripley running in the face of both Raquel Gonzalez and also a attack at the back of her match from Mercedes Martinez, so it looks like the story with her and Mercedes is not done yet. But Raquel able to successfully pin Rhea Ripley, so that's now 2 losses in 4 weeks to Rhea after she had gone a long run without losing a match.
Exactly.
So we're going to see what that leads, but of course all of this culminating to what looks like it's going to be a Mercedes Martinez and Rhea Ripley. Potentially you could add Raquel in there as maybe she's going to start getting
Those are some strong women, if you ask me. And the fact that you have all of them in that one arena on that one night, actually going for each other. They're literally gunning for one another.
And it's not even necessarily just them. Dakota believes she's still in contention. A victory this week on NXT from Shotzi Blackheart, our newest Instagram follower. Thank you very much. We love you, Shotzi. And speaking of Shotzi, we're going to have news on her in just a minute here, so stay tuned. But we the women's division is as stacked as it's been since the 4 Horsewomen days, and we really, I remember going back saying, we were concerned that when Bayley left, what are they going to do? There's no way the division will ever be that strong again, and yet I might argue it might be as strong now as it's ever been.
They've got plenty of women right in the mix of things, the thick of things, and they keep bringing in more, and it's, the thing with that is that they actually, Triple H and Shawn Michaels and You know, they find places for everybody, and they make sure everybody has a storyline, even if it's just a small one.
And you're not even looking at just the current division. I mean, you look at some of the women that are still in the back, still in developmental. You're still looking at people like Simone Johnson. You're still looking at people like Jessie Kamea, who, you know, are still, I mean, just so stacked with potential and talent that are still waiting in the wings, waiting for their turn. Indy Hartwell, you know, who has had several great matches. You can tell, you know, the future is bright for the women's division in NXT. So the women are not going to keep shining bright for a long time in NXT. H and Michaels are doing well over there.
I agree, most definitely.
We moved to Smackdown, where they continued up the play to start getting the storyline set for Payback this weekend. They only really announced one new match for Payback up to this point, and it wasn't the one I was expecting. I was expecting maybe a Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles rematch. You know, that ended up going a completely different direction with the return of former champion, who believes he's still current champion, Sami Zayn, now returning back to SmackDown, realizing that people he used to call friends aren't really seeing him as that anymore. He's seeing him more as abandoned.
I would feel the same way. You like literally dropped off the face of the mat for 4 months, and even Shinsuke said that too. And the fact that they were having a private conversation, and you come up like nothing happened. I mean, you can't just turn your back on us and think you're going to come back and we're all going to be cool like that. That's not.
Well, he still proclaims himself to be Intercontinental Champion, because even though WWE took the title away from him, he never claimed that he agreed to that. So, you know, how much claim does he have to the IC title? You know, eventually, you know, they'll have to settle that. So we'll see what plays out. It looks like we're continuing to start to see the implosion of the Lucha House Party, as Kalisto continuing to argue after a loss tonight to Cesaro. So we'll see, you know, how much longer that's going to go before eventually they start to break up.
Well, that's not the only implosion I think we're seeing.
Some people are only meant for tag team wrestling, or to win tag titles.
Bayley, you should have stopped right there.
Punt, Bayley, punt.
Because honestly, and then just after that comment, it just kept going and going and going and going. And it's just like, she's not catching it.
She caught it. Believe me, Sasha caught every word of it.
No. Bayley's not catching the fact that if you look at your best friend, you should be able to tell you're kind of grinding her gears a little bit.
Of course, you know, we're referring to the fact that Bayley was able to successfully defend her SmackDown Women's title against Asuka at SummerSlam. Sasha not so lucky with the Raw title, because it looked like Sasha was prepared to take a bullet for Bayley in her match, but the roles, when they were reversed, it didn't work out that way. Bayley not willing to take that same bullet.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think she was taking as kind of a stab not just at Sasha, but at Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro too?
Well, the point was to make it at Big E, because he said, you know, trying to proclaim you're not ready for a singles run. Some people are only built for tag. Well, Sasha just happened to be standing there.
Right there,
like I said, again, if you want to save your friendship, Bayley, next time, please, punt. Just punt.
Just keep your mouth closed.
Exactly. Well, she can't do it anymore. But, of course, you know, the hugest story coming out of... Hugest, is that a word? I don't think so.
It can be your own personal word, Mr. Dictionary.
No, I think I missed that one. Somebody look that up. Is hugest a word? But the biggest story coming out this week, of course, was right at the very tail end of SmackDown this week. Of course, the biggest news out of SummerSlam being that Roman Reigns making his official return, the big dog back on the blue brand again, and immediately saying, I want my Universal title match that I had to get, well, the title I never lost, and having to get the match at WrestleMania that I never got to have against Goldberg. Of course, very public knowledge at this point that not only was Roman going to be in that match, he was going to win that match. So he should have been Universal Champion for months at this point. Braun Strowman, who's over my shoulder, ends up being the one to reap the benefits of that. But at this point, you know, of course, the title won at SummerSlam by The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, so he's currently holding the gold, but Roman Reigns returning, so at at Payback, we get a triple threat, no-holds-barred match between Strowman, The Fiend, and Roman Reigns. First pin takes the title, but Roman coming with a little backup, and it's a big one.
I didn't, until those words left his mouth, and I said, that sounds like a Paul Heyman saying to me, and little did we know.
And the camera pans over.
Exactly, pan right over to him.
As it appears, Roman Reigns officially a Paul Heyman guy. This is what the WWE fan base has been asking for years at this point, is a Roman Reigns single title run as a heel. What are they going to do? And basically, I mean, his shirt says it all. Wreck everyone and leave. I'm going to show up. I'm not working by the hour. I'm here. I'm going to just knock the crap out of everybody who stands in my way. I'm going to win back my title, and then I'm out.
But you know what? You know the thing with that is, because he said he never lost his title, it gave Braun a chance to actually be able to have an opportunity. If y'all go back and y'all look at the episode, he wasn't even supposed to be in that match, and the fact that again,
the 24 special for WrestleMania.
Yeah, he wasn't even.
You haven't seen it. Go back and see it. You see a side of Strowman that you never seen.
No, you don't. And then on top of that, not only that, I feel like he was deserving. He's done everything he's supposed to be asked, just like Bray and The Fiend and everything else. But then you have 3 good competitors in this match who I honestly think the title could sit on any one of them, and they'd be okay. They'd be great.
Well, it'll be curious to see how that works, and then, of course, also adding the no-holds-barred stipulation, of course, opens up the door for so many things. Mm-hmm. With Paul Heyman, being now in Roman Reigns' corner,
yeah.
And rumors buzzing about of a potential Brock Lesnar return. Now they would all be on the same page, even though they don't like each other. They both technically are represented by the same guy. So does Brock maybe get involved? We didn't see any retribution tonight on Smackdown, so are they setting up something for this upcoming Sunday? And, of course, with it being no holds barred, they could potentially get involved and decide a match as well. But that looks like that's going to main event this Sunday, and it's going to be a good one with honestly one of the harder ones to predict, because really you could see the title being put on any of the 3.
Yeah, you can.
So we'll see how it all turns out, but that's the joy of it. Again, only 1 week to get emotionally involved. Hey, that's why we're standing. We stand on pay-per-view weekends. So this upcoming weekend, as we said, we've got a lot of fun. So we're going to make this one a little bit of a shorter episode, but give you guys an idea of what's coming up. First of all, of course, for the 3rd time in 8 days, we're going to do Top Rope spoilers. That will be tomorrow. That will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. So if you're in another time zone, adjust accordingly. Where we will go over what is currently 6 matches on the Payback card. They may add a few more, before now and then, but we'll go through as many as are set up at the time. Again, with the expectation being that the triple threat match for the Universal title will main event. Mm-hmm. So we got a lot of picks to make there, and we'll see how all that's going to turn out. Be sure to check out this young lady right here, who has a very special Questions with the Queen coming up this weekend. Well, go ahead. This is your show. You present it.
We have so much just for my show. I know I did reaction videos for Summerslam as well as NXT TakeOver 30. What I want y'all to do is I want y'all to pick a match out of any match on the card that is coming up for this Sunday, and I want you to, comment and tell me, and we'll drop a picture. What match would you like to see my reaction on this upcoming Sunday, as well as we've got another superstar highlight, which would be my 2nd one, also coming up. I'm not going to tell you the superstar. It's going to be a surprise.
Well, technically, if you go back and you watch the episode, we have mentioned who it is, but let's see how many of you were paying attention.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you were paying attention, you should know. If you weren't, then, you'll just have to wait till it, appears on IGTV.
But she did you did a superstar highlight on Nikki Cross a couple of weeks ago. It ended up being one of the more popular ones you've ever done. A ton of fan reaction, a ton of fan base, including a like from Nikki herself. So, a huge play out. And so we're going to continue on with another one. Again, who will the superstar be? We'll have to find out. I know who it is. She knows who it is, but y'all have to find out. Again, if you go back and watch this episode, you can figure it out. Again, as we said, Top Rope spoilers coming up, and then Monday and Tuesday, you guys have been asking me, especially with all the title changes that came up over this past weekend, and I decided instead of doing one and then doing another, I said let's wait till after Payback to do Plate Exchange. But there actually is going to be a very special thing. This is going to be a special 2-night Plate Exchange, because I have so many I've got to get through, because right now, assuming just at the moment, no more title changes, we're looking at 8 titles that I've got to change plates on, including a couple of newcomers to our collection as well. So we've got a lot to get through. Too many for one night. I'm trying not to steal a WrestleMania tagline here, but it really is too many to run in one episode. So we've actually are going to have 2 different nights. We're going to do that on Monday, and we're going to do that on Tuesday. Exact times, I don't know yet. I'm going to try to, obviously the one on Monday, I'm not going to drop that during the middle of Raw. Tuesday, of course, NXT. So, I'm probably going to try to do both of them beforehand. But keep an eye out. We'll put posts out as to when those are going to come out. But a 2-night Plate Exchange on Monday and Tuesday of this week.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see it.
I know you got, and you know what? I want to just say a huge thank you from both of us for all of the support. For those of you who haven't checked, we ended up picking up over 600 followers over SummerSlam week. It quadrupled our numbers in a period of a week. It's an insane thought to think that we've got that many people that are out here that love our material, that love what they're seeing. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all, because without you, I mean, these are conversations we do every day, even when we're off camera. We still have these same talks, but now we get a chance to share them with others, and it's nice to hear that you guys want to keep seeing it. So keep sending us the love, keep sending us the feedback, and we're going to keep sending you guys great material as we head into Payback this weekend.
Let's not forget the contest that we put out for our last Top Rope Spoilers. Yeah, Top Rope Spoilers. Mm-hmm. If you can come up with a creative, computerized edit for us, you will be the person, because we're going to go through and we're going to pick the best one, and you will be picked to be able to do Top Rope Spoilers with us.
What we're looking at is we're looking for someone to design the Top Rope Spoilers logo. We're having a lot of difficulty coming up with the right concept. We've gotten a couple of submissions in, for those of you who have. We appreciate it. But we want more choices. We want more options. Ultimately, you guys will be the ones who decide once we pick our finalists, but we need you guys to, if you got an idea, hey, I don't care if you draw it in crayon, you know.
I was about to ask you
draw it in crayon and scan it to us. I'm fine with that.
I was about to ask you that, because we have, I'm not going to mention the person because I don't want to put them on the spot, but we have someone on our friends list who does amazing artwork. He was one.
Dexter Loomis follows us now?
No, I'm sorry.
Aw.
But,
he'd be fun to do it, though.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to pay him.
True. Might be worth it, though. Anyway, continue.
But either way, that was a question that I'd gotten, through Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. If they can draw it, can we actually work it from there?
We will take it in any form that you want. Leave the computer stuff to me. I work IT in the day. I can computerize anything that comes over, so I'm not worried about it. If you want to draw it in crayon and scan it to us, I'm perfectly fine with that. But hey, however we get it, but we want more submissions. We want more ideas, because we're ready to get an official spoiler for Top Rope, or official logo for Top Rope Spoilers. And as we said, the prize we're going to give out to the person that ultimately ends up winning is an opportunity to join us on Top Rope Spoilers for future episodes, where you will be a guest picker with us. Hey, we're gonna wrap it up with that. A ton of fun material that we've just gone through, and a ton more material coming up over the next several days, and it's because of y'all that we are continuing to do so. So, hey, take us home, Kia.
I want to say congratulations to DeMario. It is now official.
I got to jump back in here. Absolutely. Congrats, man.
Congratulations, DeMario and Heather. We wish you all the best. Hopefully we get an invite. Hopefully when everything passes over. But, everybody, have a good night. We'll talk to you later. Love you much. Bye.